Mhm.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Robin, certified nutrition specialist, and welcome to One Simple Change Dietitian Edition. That's almost a tongue twister for me. You're going to hear from my partners and buddies and registered dietitians as they share what we have found in a way that we are maximizing the tools in our toolbox. We're all very passionate about food and nutrition, and we just have something good that we want to share. So listen in, listen up, and at the end, if you all have questions, we'll be sure to answer them for you. So with us, we have Kristen with a K, Kristen with a C, and Pat. I'm gonna ask them some questions and we're gonna go around and have some discussion and insight. And the first thing that I'm going to ask them is tell their background, how long they've been a registered dietitian, what they love about practicing, and then what, if any, there may not be any, limitations they faced or have faced as a registered dietitian. So I'm gonna bring Kristen with a K. And Kristen, you are where? What part of the country are you from or now?
I'm in Tucson, Arizona. Yeah.
Got it.
So yeah, I came out to Tucson. We've been here almost 9 years now, and came out with my husband was active duty for 25 years. So we came out and he finished up his military career here, and then we've decided to stick around and continue to get our kids raised and whatnot. But anyway, so my name's Kristen Finley, and I have been a registered dietitian for 30 years. I attended Oregon State University and really just went there. I was recruited to go there as an athlete and was a gymnast at Oregon State. So really, I just took like a bag full of leotards. And so it was sort of a good thing that they had a degree in dietetics there, because I'm not exactly sure what I would have studied had I not chosen that. I actually remember that I had signed up for chemical engineering, and that lasted about a day and a half, and I'm like, oh no, that's not me. So anyway, so I did my 4 years there. I went on to a big teaching hospital in St. Louis, Missouri, Barnes Hospital, where I did my dietetic internship, and did some graduate courses there at Washington University, and then sat for the RD exam after that. After that, I went into clinical dietetics, where I think a lot of us started, right? Or maybe still are. But I loved clinical dietetics. I loved being able, I had just come out of this internship that was a 1,200 bed teaching hospital. And I just felt like I was ready to, run the nutrition world kind of thing. And I came out very excited, and it was so fun to get to use my education that was really just cutting edge at the time. And I loved the collaboration, all the with the nurses and the pharmacy. I loved doing all that PT and OT and all speech therapy. I worked in a lot of different areas. I did critical care, nutrition support, bone marrow transplant, a lot of oncology. And I loved all that stuff. What I didn't love about clinical dietetics is the working on the weekends, the diet instructions. Anyone just like, is there a worse time to give a diet instruction than for the person that has just had a heart attack, or has literally, we've just saved their life, and then they're dressed and they're ready to go out the door, and the doctor orders a 1,200 calorie ADA diet instruction for the 300-pound man that's getting ready to head out the door. And you're just thinking like, this isn't going to work. And I didn't like that I was kind of ordered to do these diet instructions that I just didn't really agree with. It wasn't how I would have instructed them, but it was what was ordered. And so it was what I sort of had to go in and do. So I didn't really like that. So after my 10 years of working there, my husband got stationed to Alaska, and we had 2 boys that were 2 and 9 months. And we decided that I was going to take a break and be a mom for a while, because we weren't sure what he flew for the Air Force, and it was going to be kind of crazy. And we just wanted one of us to be home with the kids. So I took on my new job and took a break to raise. We ended up having one more boy up in Alaska. And so we went in with 2 and we came out with 3. But so when I decided to jump into private practice, I knew that it wasn't going to be like, I wasn't going to go back, or when I decided to jump back into working, I knew it wasn't going to be in clinical dietetics. And I started looking at going into private practice. And but because the main reason was because at that point in my life, now I have 3 boys, and I needed time flexibility. I did not want to work weekends. I wanted to be able to go on vacation when my husband had time off. I wanted that. So that was my big thing when I knew I was going to come back. And I think I'll stop there and turn it back over to you, Robin. That's kind of
Yeah,
gives a little bit of my background.
awesome, awesome. And so now we have Pat. And Pat, where are you in the country?
I'm in an area called the Lehigh Valley. It's above Philadelphia and west of New York City in Pennsylvania.
Got it. And then you share with us your background, how long you've been in the industry, what you love, and what, if any, limitations did you find? Or do you-
Okay, so I've been in the field of nutrition over 40 years now, and my career actually, in fact, I have a few people on. I don't even know they know this. My career actually got started when I was eavesdropping. I have 3 children, and my third one started in preschool on a college campus, and I decided to take a class while she was there, and it was an English literature class. And we were assigned seating in those days. This is 1970s, and there were a couple of girls that were sitting in the back of me, and they were coming in from their nutrition class, and so they were chatting, and I loved what I was hearing. I was one of those moms. Now think, this was back, I had kids from in the 60s into the 70s, and I was one of the moms that had a passion already for nutrition as a hobby. I mean, I made all their baby food for them, and and that was unheard of in those days. So it was fascinating to me that these girls were in college for a career in nutrition. I didn't know that existed. So by the time that semester was over, I was enrolled in our dietetics program at the University of Louisiana in Lafayette. I later went on and got a master's along with an internship, and that came from St. Joe's because I moved. That came from St. Joseph's University in West Hartford, Connecticut. So that's a little bit about my background. I have probably worked in every aspect of our field. What's so exciting about being a dietitian is that we have such a wide berth of career paths, and I probably tried every one of them over all those years. But I think my passion really stays in wellness and prevention, and and I'm going to speak a little bit later about my private practice, but I did open up a private practice where I had an opportunity. I love what Kristen said about the clinical piece of the limitations of the diets. In a private practice, you have a lot more leeway. So I did appreciate that as well. And but I was shocked at how many people refused or couldn't or wouldn't eat plant foods. That was probably my biggest because as health professionals, we know how important plant foods are to our health and body. So I'm going to finish there, Robin, and give it back to you.
Yeah, so we're gonna have Kristen with a C share with us the background. And so Kristen, where are you? Kristen with a C.
So
There you go.
I am actually from Northern Virginia, right outside of Washington, D.C., but I am in New Hampshire right now. We spend the summers up here every year. So I have a private practice in Northern Virginia. I have been a dietitian for over a decade. I didn't necessarily take the straight route to get here. My journey was very windy and twisty. I started out with a liberal arts education at the University of Notre Dame. I went on to get my master's in public health, and I was always interested in nutrition. From college on, Notre Dame didn't have dietetics, so it wasn't an option for me there. But I was scared of the science and the math that nutrition had, but the master's in public health kind of started to scratch that itch, but it didn't it didn't fulfill it completely. So I did end up going back to school to get my degree in dietetics. And I went right into private practice. And what I love about nutrition and private practice really is the people. I love building relationships with clients. I love the privilege. I'm so grateful for the privilege of being trusted with their health journey. I love helping people feel better and seeing how that can really just impact the ripple effect of their whole life. And I really just kind of geek out about the power of food. Like, it's so amazing to me. And I love being able to share that with people. In terms of limitations, because I had an unusual road to my dietetics career, I went right into private practice because my husband and I were ready to start a family, and I wanted that time flexibility that Kristen was talking about before. So my perspective comes completely from private practice. And the first thing I really noticed, like day one, was that I was lonely, and I hadn't even thought about that. Even though the word private, which means by yourself, was in the name, I hadn't even considered the fact that it was just going to be me. And I love to collaborate. I love an environment of support and celebration. And that's just really hard to find in private practice because it's most of the time just you. So that was really hard for me to kind of get used to. And then the second thing is that my paycheck really reflected how many clients I was able to see. So if I went on vacation or I went to do something with my kid's school or a kid was sick, I couldn't see clients and therefore I wasn't paid. And we know as dietitians, we do a lot of work outside of the appointment, right, that we're actually paid for. So I was doing all this work, but only getting paid for the few, little time slots that I could actually see patients. And that just felt, or clients, I apologize. It just felt like I was really tied down, and it was frustrating to me. So that's kind of where I'm going to wrap it up for now, Robin.
Got it. And I too had the same, I was in private practice and I still am. And that was my limitation as well. It was just me. Everything was me. And I felt like I couldn't leave or go very far because I was always dealing with the clients. And I felt like it was just endless. I loved the work, but I couldn't stop. And I just felt kind of like I was in chains. So all of us, we're in different parts of the country, and all of us have partnered with a community that has been, and you'll hear about it, has been just very useful in that it's provided us with additional tools, additional resources, collaborations, and an income stream that has, in some cases, solved some of the challenges that we have had. And we're going to talk about that so that you understand what we do, how we do. We're all very passionate about whole food nutrition. One of them mentioned, and we all know that fruits and vegetables are the cornerstone of that. And it's very difficult for people to consume the recommended amount that they need. And they just don't. So we partnered with a company that helps people grow their produce. So we actually help people do it in an easy way through aeroponics. And we also help people take their fruits and vegetables in capsules. We're going to share with you a little detail, the nuances of all of those things, but get into why we said yes to this opportunity and what that looks like in our businesses. So we've partnered with a company, again, that it's the Tower Garden Juice Plus. So Tower Garden is the aeroponic growing system, and Juice Plus is the fruits and vegetables in a capsule. We want you to know how that has revolutionized how we serve our clients and how we do our businesses. So my first question is going to go back to Kristen with a K. How did you hear about this community? What made you say yes, that you wanted to be a partner? And then what has your experience been personally and then for your clients and those that you serve?
Yeah. So the product that we're talking about is called Juice Plus. And so I was introduced to that by a friend. And, I'm a dietitian. I've been to school. My friend was a realtor. And I really, I have to be really honest, I just totally shut it down for 2 years, shut it down, like wouldn't even talk about it. And then I have a friend, actually, she's on the call tonight. Hi, Kristen, another Kristen. She actually invited me to, she was a nurse in the Air Force, and she invited me to a talk with a doctor that spoke for our company that was speaking. And it was the first time it kind of like made a little bit of sense to me. Like, what if, I mean, I know in 30 years that I've been practicing as a dietitian, I've been trying to get people to eat more fruits and vegetables. And 30 years later, the CDC says that 10% of us are getting enough fruits and vegetables in our diet. We're just not getting enough. So I thought, what if there is something to this? And I still wasn't anywhere near being able to recommend it to anybody. But at the end of the day, you know, or maybe at the end of a couple months more, I did decide that I was going to give it a try for myself. And as a dietitian, I knew that if I changed a bunch of things, that if I said, oh, it's working, but I changed my diet and everything else. So for the first year that I took it, the only thing, I mean, I'm an anecdotal study, I realize that, but for the first year, the only change that I made was to add plant powders to my diet. And I ate pretty healthy, but I mean, come on, I had 3 teenage boys at that time, and we had Oreos and Doritos, and we had the stuff in our house too. So it wasn't like I was Miss Clean over here. But so I didn't change any of that. At the end of the year, I was able to get off of 3 allergy medications. I'd had chronic back and hip pain. I was a college gymnast. I thought that, you know, I was approaching 50 and just really thought that, you know, here we go, the decline is starting kind of thing. But that back and hip pain went away. And the most amazing thing to me, and the thing that I never thought would happen, is that an autoimmune disease that I'd had was diagnosed with at age 6 and had never gone a day for 43 years without medication. I was now going 7 to 10 days routinely without medication. And you guys, I mean, you know, I ate better than most. I was doing triathlons. I was healthy before doing any of this. So I was, you know, riding my bike 100 miles a week, and I was doing all the stuff that you need to be doing. And if someone would have asked me if I was healthy, I would have said, yeah, I'm healthy. But the truth of the matter is, I wasn't eating near enough fruits and vegetables every day to manage the inflammation that I know my body had, because I had an autoimmune disease, you know, and I still have. And I was having allergies and all those things that we know are rooted in some sort of inflammation. For whatever reason, I just wasn't able to get enough. So that, to me, you know, after it took me about 6 months to even be able to like tell my family I'm taking this stuff. And then after about a year, when I quit having to take, you know, steroids every day for my autoimmune disease condition, I started sharing it with people. And I wasn't really thinking about using it in my practice. It was about that same time I started going, I wasn't really thinking about that, but I was sharing with my friends and like, oh my God, this stuff is kind of working. Like, I'm kind of embarrassed to have to share with you, but it was working, you know? And so it was just sort of a natural thing. It wasn't a weird thing. And then I saw how, man, if this can work for me, like this can work for other people. And it doesn't have to be a weird thing. I mean, I am about the tools. It became a tool in my toolbox for when I see clients. Like, who else do I know that has, you know, an autoimmune condition or that's dealing with things that fruits and vegetables could make better? And
Uh-oh. Hello. Is she frozen or am I frozen? She's frozen? Okay, she's frozen. Well, she's frozen, so I don't know what happened with her, but we're gonna go on to Pat so that she can share her story. But I want to say, so you had frozen there for a little bit, so we're gonna move on to
Am I still frozen?
You're not anymore, but we're gonna come back to you.
Okay. Yeah.
You know,
you got the gist. You got the gist from me.
I think in this
it was working, then I had to share it.
Got it. In this profession, and I'll say this before I go to Pat, when I was introduced to it, I was just, well, actually, I came in through Tower Garden, which I'll tell you in a little bit, but the fact that we know that people don't get the fruits and vegetables, we are nutrition professionals, and we know that this is a way for them to bridge the gap between what they do eat and what they should eat. And if you know you have something good, it becomes, and it hits you over the head. You have something good. Why won't you share it? I always felt unethical because I knew that it was so powerful, and how could I hold this back? So I'm going to go to Pat. And Pat, you've been in the industry for 40 years. How did you hear about the company? What made you say, yeah, I want to partner with them? And what's been your experience? And I just want to say this, we are definitely going to talk about how this has helped us with an additional income stream and what that looks like and how we're actually utilizing it. So we'll talk about that. So we want you to hang on so you can hear that. But Pat, how did you hear about it? And what's been your experience, and why did you say yes?
Why did I say yes? So this is over 20 years ago that a simple question from one of a friend of mine, would you look at this with me? That's what I didn't know it at the time, but a real major turning point in my life at many different levels. Her brother is an OBGYN, and he was recommending it and suggesting it to his pregnant patients. So that's why she wanted my professional opinion. So I did do due diligence on the product and on the company. And what I found was that it was a food. It wasn't a supplement. It had a food label, still does. I found out that, and then logically thinking, okay, it's a safe product since pregnant women can take this. But the company was just starting to partner with universities to research what was in the product. And they were doing using actual people taking the actual capsules, and we call that primary research. So I was impressed about that. And so I ended up asking my friend to ask her brother if I could get some of this product. And then, so of course, I became a customer, and I've been taking Juice Plus ever since. And so I've just seen a lot of changes in my health as well as my family's health. And I have to say, now I'm turning 73, and I have far more energy. And I've done a lot of things along the way to take care of my health, but certainly Juice Plus has been a catalyst for that. And so I will get back to my business story after this, but that's it for me.
Got it. Thank you. And then Kristen with a C, what made you say yes, and what's been your experience?
So my friend Amanda was living abroad for many years. She's a physical therapist, and she was one of those people that I just have always trusted. But she'd moved to the Republic of Georgia for many years, and we lost touch. But she sent me this email saying, I just partnered with this company. I'd love for you to check it out. I think it could be a tool for your clients. And to be totally, totally transparent, I just wanted to talk to her. So I said yes. I just wanted the chat time. So we hopped on the call and we got caught up. But then she started sharing about Juice Plus with me. And as soon as I started really to understand the nutrition, my mind started opening to all the possibilities of how this could be helpful and the impact that this could have. And as Kristen was saying, and Pat and Robin have both said, we, always and will forever always tell people that more fruits and vegetables will be helpful. But it's really, really hard to get the quantity, the quality, and the variety that you need every single day. So I saw this as a great tool to help, as Robin said, bridge that gap from what we should get to what we actually are getting. Aside from that, it just ticked all the boxes for me. The research, which I'm going to go into in a little bit, it had a nutrition label, as Pat said, and it's third-party certified. So these were all things that my professional side was really excited to see. And then just from an experience perspective, my entire family has taken Juice Plus for the last almost 8 years. I definitely noticed a difference between my pregnancy with Juice Plus and my pregnancy without Juice Plus. So we've all experienced different health stories and journeys with it, as have my clients. There have been just an array of results that I've seen from adding this nutrition, which is really, really exciting. So I'm excited to share more about the research and kind of how I'm using it in my practice in just a little bit.
Awesome. And for me, I came in through what's called the Tower Garden. I met a lady, and she's on here tonight, and I saw this on her business card. I saw the Tower Garden, and I wasn't into the fruits and vegetables of like in the capsule at that time, but the tower just made sense to me. It made sense to me that people don't get enough produce, and if they grew their own, that was phenomenal. They told me it was easy. It was 90% less water, less space. It's a vertical garden. I just thought this made sense. So I immediately became a part of the community because of this. And later, much later, is when I said yes to incorporating the capsules. And my mother, who had cancer, we make no health claims, but my mother, who had cancer, was what changed the deal for me, that it helped to balance her body. And from that point, I just knew that this was the right thing. I had no expectations as to what was going to happen with my business. I just knew I got to tell this to my clients because this makes sense. We're going to grow fruits and vegetables because that makes sense. And I didn't know what it was going to do for me and my finances, which we promise we'll talk about, because I think that's important. It's a wonderful tool that can be used in so many ways. What I want to do is, so y'all know about the hydroponics. So when you are a partner with the company, you have the opportunity to have distribution rights for the Tower Garden, and you also have distribution rights for Juice Plus. And I want Kristen to briefly just share what it is, because you hear fruits and vegetables in the capsule, plant powders, like what is it really, Kristen, really quick, what it is, and then we'll go from there.
So Juice Plus, what it isn't is a vitamin mineral supplement. It has a food label on it, and it is basically 30 different fruits, vegetables, and berries that they are picked ripe. They're non-GMO, they're herbicide and pesticide free. They pick them, take them to a plant that's usually close to the farm, and they throw the whole fruit and vegetable into the hopper, that with the peel of the orange, the tops of the pineapple, the whole thing. And they mash it. So it's not really juiced. It's like everything is pulverized. And then they take that slurry, I guess, and they dry it at a temperature that's low enough so it doesn't destroy the nutrition in there. They take out the sugar and the water, and they make these powders out of it, and then they encapsulate the powders. So it's very simple. That is our flagship product. It's called Juice Plus. And then we have just a few other products. It's not a huge product line. We have a plant-based omega-3. Well, it's not an omega-3 supplement. It's the full spectrum omega. It's 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. But it's all plant-based. So it comes from pomegranate seed, buckthorn berry seed, tomato seed oil. So a bunch of different plants. So no fish. It comes an algae or algal oil. I don't know if I'm saying that right. So algae oil. So anyway, but so we have the plant-based omega, and then we have we have some protein shakes and bars, and then the Tower Garden. So that's it. It's a very narrow product line, which is nice for me, because it's not our company is more into making our existing products better than having a huge variety of products. So that those are the tools that we can use in our toolbox with those few lines. We can use those however we see fit when we're working with clients.
And we're going to talk about the quality, because I think as nutrition professionals, if we're going to recommend something to someone, we know that people trust us, they trust our opinion. We cannot, would not, and should not recommend something we don't believe in, that is not highly researched, doesn't have the high quality, and also that we just have to know that it's legit, right, before we go and share it with anybody. So I want to have Pat Sullivan, who has been in 40 years as a dietitian, been partnered with Juice Plus Tower Garden for 17 years. Can you speak to us about the longevity of the company, and then also the quality, the certifications, and all of those things?
Sure. So, and the bigger picture about our company, it is actually 50 years old now, and so the longevity is there. very stable company. It's a privately owned company. And I love the fact that the company puts its resources in helping the outside, all of us, do our jobs. So there's a large office in outside of Memphis, Tennessee, with a whole group of people that are there just to help us with the business and help our customers with their products. So I love that about the company. The Our flagship product is set 27 to 28 years old now. It's been on the market that long, and I love the fact that we don't have a big line of products. We keep tweaking the products to make them even better, and we have a whole committee and a team rather that works directly with the farms to assure that we have the highest quality products. It's non-GMO. I forget if any of us have said that yet, but they work with only non-GMO seeds completely, and I love that. But I firsthand had a chance to actually see the encapsulation plant. I was in San Diego, and it was just one of those wonderful opportunities, and it came at the right time. It was right at the beginning of when I decided to be a partner that I got to see this, and their quality control measures are outstanding. And I say that very comfortably because from the moment that of all of that slurry that has been dried comes to the dock, there are checkpoints. And when that comes into the building, there are checkpoints. So there's quality control every step of the way. I don't know if you can remember, I love to use the word that our products, when somebody said is organic, well, I say it's better than organic because our products, if you can remember about the scare of the organic, there was spinach, and then there was organic, another green that that we weren't able to eat for a while because of fields. Well, this quality control takes and makes sure that what's going into our capsules are pure, and I love that. And on top of all of that, so again, there's measures taken at every step of the way, including when it's encapsulated as a final check before it gets put in the box. There's a nonprofit organization, the National Sanitation Foundation, NSF, that we have a certificate with. In other words, if you look at any of our products, there's this NSF stamp, and what that assures you as the customer, that the product, what is on the label is what is in the product, and again, that it's safe. So I'm going to turn that back over to you, Robin.
Yeah, and so we're gonna have just briefly share with us about the research, and then we are gonna go back and just tell you how we are using it in our business as a business and what it's doing for us that way. So Kristen with a C, share with us about the research.
The call of the Kristens. So the research is one of the things that really first caught my attention. And I find it amazing and wonderful that Juice Plus is actually the #1 most researched nutritional product in the world. You can even ask Siri, she will tell you. So I'm just going to buzz through some of the highlights that really stand out to me. And I'm going to do it as quickly as I can so we can get to the next business section. But first of all, it is company invested research, meaning that Juice Plus, the company, supplies the capsules for the research, but then completely steps away until the results are finalized. As Pat said, the research is done with the actual products and with actual people, no animals, nothing fishy about that. There are 41 and counting clinical studies conducted by researchers at leading hospitals and universities around the world. And just to give you a flavor, I'm going to read off a few. Georgetown University, Yale, University of Texas, MD Anderson, King's College in London, and the University of Milan in Italy, which I would love to go visit. There are roughly around 30 in total. So I love the quality of the institutions that are doing the research on this. And then the research is then published in peer-reviewed scientific journals, many of which I'm sure you will recognize: Journal of Pediatrics, Journal of Nutrition, Journal of Clinical Nutrition, Medicine and Science and Sports and Exercise, cardiology journals, oncology journals. The list goes on and on. So just to give you a little sense of what some of the research has covered, we have looked at the bioavailability of nutrients through the products, oxidative stress, systemic inflammation, heart health, DNA, and nutrigenomics. This word's hard for me. Someone help me.
Genomics, yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say. Skin, teeth, obesity, quality of life, and lung health. And then some of the studies that are underway include cognitive health, metabolic, aging, and the microbiome. So there's so much amazing stuff ahead. So that is just a snapshot, but I really wanted to make sure that I gave that to you.
Yeah. So, okay. So as we're wrapping up, we want to talk about, so you've heard about Juice Plus, you've heard about Tower Garden. You obviously see that we are all about recommending it to our clients and our patients, and it is a tool, and we have several resources we've incorporated into our business. And in some cases it has become taken over, not so much taken over, but what I want to ask each of you, and then I will share my story. So for you, Kristen, you've partnered with the company. What, in terms, and again, making no income claims, what has this income stream allowed you to do that you maybe weren't able to do before? And just give us some insight on that. Kristen, with a C. C.
Oh, with a C.
With a C, yeah.
Okay.
I know.
The extra income has brought me such a peace of mind. I was able to take time off from my practice when I had my second baby, and I still had a business. I was still helping people with a topic that I was so passionate about. The income was consistent, even though I wasn't working in the office. And honestly, I got to talk to adults, which, if you've been on like a maternity leave, you know, is very valuable. But it has also allowed me just this incredible flexibility and freedom. So I don't feel the same pressure if I go on vacation, because I know that this piece of my business is still providing income. I am able to come up to New Hampshire every single summer. All I need is my computer or my phone, or, you know, everyone's on their phone these days. That's really all you need. I don't need an office. I don't need anything else. So it has really just allowed me to move around, have financial and time flexibility. And it's just been such a blessing that I am so grateful to have added to my practice.
Because this opportunity allows for residual income, because the product is so good that customers order it continuously month after month, and it's just a tremendous opportunity. So Kristen, briefly share with us how this has impacted you on your business side.
So you're talking to me, right?
Kristen, yeah, I'm sorry. It's too many Kristens.
No, that's
Kristen
okay.
with a K.
No, like Kristen, I think, I was just thinking about this today. You know, I took 12 days off in June, or yeah, I went home for a week. I went on vacation for a week, and I took a weekend to go to a lacrosse tournament with my youngest son. And my paycheck didn't take a hit. I can like, my business is on my phone, so I can check in with my clients and my customers, you know, so I'm using it some when I'm seeing clients on the private practice side, and some are just customers. But the other thing that I'm using it for is our company has a lifestyle program called Shred 10. And it really is kind of a jumpstart program to get people thinking about improving their life. It's not a weight loss program. It's not, it's general good nutrition habits, and not just nutrition habits, but it focuses on getting enough water and getting sleep and decreasing your stress. And, but all of the resources for that program are available, and it's free to the customers. It's not an additional cost. All they need is their Juice Plus, and then they can do the program. And we support, right now, our group has almost 400 people in it. So 400 people every month that we can touch kind of affect those lives. It's done in a Facebook group, and we have lots of moderators in there, and we're loving on people every single day and helping people get healthier, sort of as a group in a group sort of setting and community where people are sharing and asking questions. And I feel like I'm helping so many more people. I have 45 shredders, and I feel like I'm helping so many more people than I could if I was doing one-on-one counseling. And yet I'm spending a little bit of time every day in that group taking care of people. And the rest of the time I'm doing some other business stuff, but it's by no means like a full-time job. So it's been a nice little supplemental income check without having to work full-time. And I was a stay-at-home mom for a number of years. So the income piece maybe wasn't the biggest thing for me, but man, having that time freedom and being able to, my husband has a business trip to Italy. I might just go with him because my kids are getting older now. So having that time freedom for me is a huge piece, and being able to take time off and still get paid. The paycheck keeps coming through. Has been really nice.
And I just feel like, gosh, the time goes by so fast, you guys. I'm going to say this, we're going to have Pat wrap it up. And then if any of you guys have questions, we'll do that. It revolutionized everything for me. And be it that my company, we produce protein powder and we did a lot of things. So I had a lot of expenses. And when I partnered with the company, this took over one of my profit centers. And it took over in such a way that I didn't have to do some of the things that I was doing before. And it really, really freed up a lot of my time. And it actually saved me money by having this incorporated, because the company, I don't have to hold inventory. The company ships, bills, does all of the logistics. We're just putting in the orders for the customers and it rolls from there. That has allowed me I couldn't travel before. I couldn't be away from my clients or customers. I can go. It's just been such a phenomenal opportunity. And I'll say this, that you can offer the Tower Gardener Juice Plus directly to your clients and customers, and that's that. But we also have the opportunity to share this with other professionals and other people who want to join in on the mission. So I have about 66 other partners that I work with, and we all are partnered up. But I want to tell you about Pat, because Pat, I'm going to say this, she's about 500 partners that is in her organization. And you'll correct me if I'm wrong. So Pat, I'm going to introduce your story a bit and then you take it away. You were able to retire and your income stream continues to come. So I want you to come in on that, but I want to say this before we lose anybody else. This company provides a benefits package, and that is something that is so yummy to me because it's being on your own and having the opportunity to get health insurance, life insurance, disability, college tuition reimbursement, all of those things, a holiday bonus, all of those things that I didn't get on my own. I had to pay for all of those things. So I'm going to leave it at that, but I want Pat to just share her story and what it's done for us, or her. We'll wrap up with any questions. And then, gosh, the time has gone by so fast. So Pat, take it away. And yes, she does have 500 partners. That's unmute yourself.
There we go. There we go. It's getting closer to 500. It's just about up there. But think about this. Yes, I'm technically in retirement age, but in the words of a very, very dear mentor, Harriet Sulzer, how do you retire a passion? So I still work this business every day, and I do a lot of traveling, or I did before COVID, but with a phone in the hand, I can run this business, and any of us can. And so when my husband retired 7 years ago, I did close down our private practice, and it gave us an opportunity to be more flexible with our time. And so that's why I am so grateful for this business, and that's why I'll continue working this business. So how about that for a closing, Robin?
Yes, yes. I feel like we could talk so much, but I'm going to wrap it up and say this. For those of you all who are dietitians, who are nutritionists, contact the person that invited you here, because what I'm going to say to you is exciting and important. Each of us have the opportunity to waive so we're all franchisees. We all are independent partners. And to become a partner, there is a franchise fee. We are able to waive that for a limited amount of time. If you're listening to this as a recording, I couldn't just tell you. So at this date, at this time that I'm saying this, we are able to waive that, where you can become a partner for nothing, which is rare. We can do that for you. So you have to get in touch with us right away. We want you to ask us more questions. We want you to do your due diligence. We want you to understand the power of what this is and what this can be. We have moms that are able to stay at home with their children more, travel more, reduce their expenses. It's just an incredible opportunity with a phenomenal deliverable. Fruits and vegetables in a capsule, never going to go out of style. Fruits and vegetables, everybody needs them. Being able to grow your fruits and vegetables. More people are desiring food security. So you have something that is so phenomenal that you could put into your toolbox, create an additional income stream that allows you a residual income that lasts, Pat, 17 years. I'm sure you have customers that have been with you all that time. You get a customer one time and you're still getting the income from them. It's beyond, like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I literally was resistant to it because I just had my limiting beliefs, and it has changed so much for me. So I repeat, we have the opportunity to wait. It's not a long-term opportunity. You may not ever see it again. This is your opportunity to become a part of the community, see us from the inside, what we're doing, all the resources, all the collaborations. None of us have any financial relationship with each other. We're just buddies, friends. We collaborate. We came together different parts of the country, and we said, you know what? We want to share this with other dietitians and other nutritionists. We have something that is good. We are giving people. We get paid to do good, and we want more partners, more boots on the ground. Prevention and wellness. Good grief. Y'all see how the state of health. We have a great solution for that. Did I miss anything? Any of Kristen, and Pat? Did I miss anything?
Kristen, I know that someone had written on here about dialysis, and you said there was.
Oh,
you have. Did you want to speak to that, or did you have the resources, or?
So if there's any medical questions, because I know people have medical questions, and so I'm going to ask them I'm going to cut the recording off just right now, but if there's any medical questions, we'll love to answer it. We may not be able to answer them in full here because we're running short on time, but I'm going to, is there any from our panelists before we get to the questions? Because we definitely want to get to the questions, but any of our panelists want to say anything before I officially end? Okay, so I'm going to end the